Ladies and gentlemen, the Prime Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem. You may be seated. Prime Minister Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Minister of Tourism and Member of Parliament for St. James East Central, the Honorable Edmund Bartlett, Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives and Member of Parliament for St. James Central, Mr. Heroy Clark, our councillors, caretakers, and political representatives, Ms. Melissa Haynes, Principal Director in the Office of the Prime Minister, representing Permanent Secretary Ambassador Rocky Mead, NHT Board Chairman, Mr. Linval Freeman, and other members of the NHT Board of Directors, Director Mrs. Nesta Claire Smith-Hunter, Managing Director of the National Housing Trust, Mr. Martin Miller, and the management and staff of the NHT. Our development partners, Henan Fifth Construction Group, in particular, Han Wei Fang, Vice President of Henan Fifth Group. And let me also acknowledge as well, Senior Vice President Rulin G, and the other members of the Henan Fifth Construction team. Heads of agencies, Managing Director of the Housing Agency of Jamaica, Mrs. Doreen Prendergast, representatives of our utility providers, representatives of the St. James Municipal Corporation, or partner mortgage institutions, members of the business community, pastor of the Rhine Park Christian Church, Reverend Devon Linton, residents of Spot Valley and neighboring communities, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant afternoon to you all. I think you can do a little better than that. A pleasant afternoon to you all. Thank you very much, and welcome to our groundbreaking ceremony for Brookside Estate, a housing development brought to you by the National Housing Trust with development partners, the Henan Fifth Construction Group. I am Dwayne Burbick, and it is my privilege and pleasure to guide you through the afternoon's proceedings, which will culminate with another groundbreaking exercise. And this groundbreaking will make way for the construction of a new set of houses that residents of this parish will be proud to call home upon completion. Ladies and gentlemen, this ceremony is not just about turning the first shovel of dirt. It is about turning dreams into reality. It signifies the beginning of a journey towards progress, innovation, and a brighter future for St. James. And as we embark on this exciting venture, let us remember that every great achievement starts with a single step. And today we take that step together in our commitment to building a better tomorrow. And at this time, let me invite Pastor of the Ryan Park Christian Church, Reverend Devon Linton, to lead us in a moment of prayer and invocation as we ask for a blessing upon the construction of the project and also for our future homeowners. Let's welcome Reverend Linton.
Master of Ceremonies, Mr. Prime Minister, Minister of Tourism, Chairman of the NHT Board, Managing Director of the NHT, all other distinguished guests. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm going to invite you to stand with me again. It's not an exercise program, but I'll invite you to stand with me one more time. Let us pray. Almighty God, you who have initiated this relationship with us, as we come to this groundbreaking ceremony of this Brookside estate, we are reminded and we acknowledge this truth, O God, that it is in you we live and move and have our being. The truth, O God, that you are not only all in all, but you are over all. At a moment when hope is being inspired, because of your loving kindness, because of your tender mercies, we are humbled at this time, Almighty God, to call upon you and to invoke your presence at this ceremony. It's an opportune time, Lord, even to add that your presence not only be at this ceremony, but for the entire project, that your presence continue to be the guide for this government as it continues to chart the way for more and more Jamaicans realizing the dream to have their own affordable home. Lord, we also remember at this time and ask you that your presence be with all the arm of government that ensures that a ceremony as this takes place, preceding the project that will ensure the realization of more and more homes for more and more Jamaicans. And so as we call upon you, O God, we do so through the only door, through the only way to you, Jesus Christ. And it is in his name we pray. Amen. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Reverend Linton. Now it's time for our official welcome. And for that, please, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and welcome a gentleman who goes by the mantra, facta non verba. Let him tell you what it means when he gets here and why it's important to him. He's chairman of the National Housing Trust, Mr. Linval Freeman. Please make him welcome.
Thank you, Dwayne. Facta non verba. It's deeds, not words. The good old Dintil Technical High School motto. Prime Minister, Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Minister of Tourism, and Member of Parliament for St. James East Central, and Minister Bartlett is becoming a habit, right? His Worship, well, I don't see the Mayor, but our Deputy Speaker, Deputy Speaker Clark, other political representatives, other members of the NHT board, and I see Nesta Claire Smith Hunter, one of our foot soldiers, management of the NHT led by Martin Miller, other officials, members of the 105th Construction Group, ladies and gentlemen. I usually start by saying this is the day that the Lord has made, and we rejoice and be glad in it. So good morning and welcome. Today marks another powerful example of what can happen when the public and the private sectors unite around a shared mission to uplift lives and build communities. It is also a declaration that the National Housing Trust remains steadfast in its mission to transform lives, build communities, and build a better Jamaica, one home at a time, which eventually will translate into several homes over several parishes. Of note, this is the third time that, as chairman of the NHT, I'm coming to the parish of St. James, once to deliver keys and twice for groundbreaking. And I would say the first time, member Bartlett, it was deliberate. I don't know if the second time was by chance, and the third time is by luck. But what I would say is that NHT is very strategic in where it builds its home. It builds its home where people can benefit and where the demand is greatest. This is indeed a significant moment in our collective journey towards achieving sustainable, affordable housing for all Jamaicans. It is with great pride that I returned to St. James to break ground for the Brookside Estate housing development. Just 2 weeks ago, we broke grounds in the nearby Barrett Hall for over 1,560 new housing solutions. Today, we are breaking grounds for 418 one-bedroom and two-bedroom units in collaboration with N&5 Construction Group under the NHT's Guaranteed Purchase Program, GPP. This type of partnership is not new for Henan. Just last month, we jointly broke grounds for 1,758 housing solutions at Mount Nelson in Manchester. And again, I made the point when we broke grounds then, and I cannot overemphasize the fact that we want N&5 to build quickly, as the NHT is on a fast track to build homes, and to build those homes very, very quickly. That project was done under the Developers Program, another avenue through which private developers can partner with the NHT. By collaborating with developers like N&5 under the GPP and the Developers Program, the NHT works with private developers to accelerate the delivery of affordable housing solutions across the island. Through these initiatives, we are hoping to bridge the gap between supply and demand for affordable housing, allowing more families to realize their home ownership goal. And this is very serious because, ladies and gentlemen, every time we have finished units for the NHT, we have 200 units. Most times we have 4,000 applications for 200 units. So we know that the demand is very, very great for housing solutions. Home ownership is deeply rooted in the Jamaican spirit. It represents stability, independence, and pride. There are many pathways to ownership, and with that said, we are equally dedicated to expanding our mortgage products to get you a home. Come 1 July, the National Housing Trust will be implementing new mortgage products and making enhancements to existing ones. Now contributors will be able to access more financing while continuing to enjoy interest rates as low as 0%. In addition, the NHT continues to offer 100% financing for NHT-built schemes, including those built alongside our partners, where qualified contributors can access up to $15 million in financing from the NHT. The future residents of Brookside Estate will also benefit from those improved mortgage arrangements, including deferred mortgages, as well as the intergenerational and peer-assist mortgage programs, which allow parents to partner with children to make mortgages more affordable. Indeed, constructing a future ability opportunity for families who are desirous of a place to call their own home. For the young professionals to plant roots. Today would not be possible without the collaboration and indeed the thread that binds the fabric of our nation. To our partner, and on fifth, thank you for once again coming on board. I want to also recommend and commend the construction team led by Brian Saunders and the other members of the NHG to manage and arrange the event today. As we stand on this threshold of transformation, let us remember that today is not about the physical act of breaking ground. It's about the vision of a brighter future for our families, a commitment to community development, a pledge to never stop working towards building better lives for all Jamaicans. Let the work we do today echo the lives of generations to come. May God continue to bless our nation and all those who call it home. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you very much, Mr. Freeman. And we are indeed reminded today, ladies and gentlemen, that housing requires partnership, and it also requires collaboration, and most importantly, that the NHT has avenues through which developers can partner with us to increase the number of houses for our contributors. And our next speaker has partnered with the NHT on 2 projects so far, as we heard from Chairman earlier, representing over 2,000 housing solutions. I think that is worthy of a round of applause, and I ask you to keep that applause going as we welcome Vice President of Henant 5th Construction Group, Han Wei Feng, and he will bring his remarks at this time.
Hello, good afternoon. 尊敬的安德鲁总理阁下，尊敬的巴特尔特部长，尊敬的国家住房信托基金主席弗莱曼先生，各位来宾、女士们、先生们，大家下午好。
The Most Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Andrew Holness, the Honorable Minister of Tourism, Mr. Edmund Bartlett, the respected Chairman of NHT, all distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon.
今天，我们怀着无比喜悦的心情，齐聚在美丽的蒙特贝尔，共同见证布鲁克赛德项目开工典礼这一重要时刻。本项目的开工建设，标志着中亚友好合作又增添了一座新的里程碑。
Today, with immense joy, we gather here the beautiful Mobile to jointly witness this significant moment, the groundbreaking ceremony of Brookside Estate. The commencement of this project marks another new milestone in the friendly cooperation between China and Jamaica.
在此， 我谨代表河南五建集团，向牙买加政府、圣詹姆斯教区政府以及所有关心和支持项目建设的社会各界人士致以诚挚的谢意和崇高的敬意。
Here, on behalf of the company, I would like to express my sincere gratitude and the highest respect to the government of Jamaica, the St. James Parish government, and all individuals from various sectors who have cared for and shown their support for this project.
河南五建集团至今已有70多年的发展历程，始终秉承合作共赢、造福社会的宗旨，积极参与国际工程项目建设，以卓越的产品和服务助力各国经济的社会的发展。
So, with a history of over 70 years, the HFC Group always adheres to the principle of cooperation for mutual benefit and contributing to the society, and actively participates in international projects supporting the economic and social development of various countries with outstanding products and services.
牙买加地处加勒比地区，拥有深厚的文化底蕴和广阔的发展前景。我们非常荣幸能够参与到牙买加民生改善和国家发展的进程中，为当地社区建设贡献绵薄之力。
A vigorous nation located in the Caribbean, Jamaica has a rich cultural heritage and a vast development prospects. We are deeply honored to participate in the process of improving livelihood and national development in Jamaica and contributing to the construction of local communities.
布鲁克赛德住房项目是我公司参与建设的 NHT 保证性住房项目之一，也是牙买加政府致力于改善人民生活、促进社会和谐的重要举措。
So one of the several NHT affordable housing programs, Brookside Estate is one of these programs. Our company has involved in construction. It is also an important initiative by the Jamaican government to improve the people's life and to promote social harmony.
该项目建成后，将为418户家庭提供安全、舒适、宜居的百姓住房，极大地改善居民的居住条件，提升居民的生活质量和幸福质。
Brookside will provide safe, comfortable, and affordable housing units for 418 families, significantly improving people's living conditions and enhancing the quality of life and happiness.
在项目开发进程过程中，我们将严格遵守当地的法律法规，始终坚持以人为本，注重环境保护，科学组织、精心施工，确保项目如期、高质量交付。
During the construction of the project, we will be strictly abide by local laws and regulations, always prioritize a people-oriented approach, focus on environmental protection, and carry out scientific organization and meticulous construction to ensure the project is delivered on time with high quality.
同时，河南五建也将积极履行企业责任，为当地创造更多的就业机会，促进社区融合发展，与牙买加人民携手并进，共创美好未来。
At the same time, the company will actively fulfill its social responsibility, create more employment opportunities for the local community, promote community development, and work hand in hand with the people of Jamaica to create a better future together.
最后，衷心祝愿布鲁克赛德项目顺利建设，早日竣工。祝愿牙买加人民生活幸福美满，祝愿中牙友谊历久弥坚。谢谢大家。
So, in the end, I sincerely wish a smooth construction and early completion for the project. I wish the people of Jamaica a happy life. I wish the friendship between China and Jamaica to remain steadfast and enduring. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Waifang, ably aided by your eloquent interpreter. Thank you very much. And thank you for that commitment that you will deliver the project on time, right, Chairman, with good quality, and also to engage the local community as it relates to employment. Because indeed, housing is transformational in many ways. It doesn't just benefit the life of the person who gets the key at the end of the day, but along the journey, along the construction process, many other elements and spaces in the society also benefit. Thank you again, sir. Thanks very much. Now, I thought of all the ways I could possibly introduce our next speaker, and I have settled with just simply saying, Minister Bartlett, it's good to see you again. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the Honorable Edmund Bartlett, Member of Parliament for St. James East Central and Tourism Minister. He will make his remarks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Master of Ceremonies. Our Prime Minister of Jamaica, Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Michael Holness. And I want a very special, I know you're special, and you're giving a special welcome to our Prime Minister in Spot Valley. But I want you to give him a real East Central welcome to Spot Valley. And you know why I want you to give him that special welcome? Because he's the first Prime Minister in the history of Jamaica to, in 2 years, is settling over 2,000 houses for the people of this area of the constituency. And later on, when he goes somewhere else to look at some more that he has delivered, and when we take him to Grange Pen later on, when he will deliver again, and he has another delivery to make, one that he doesn't even know himself fully about yet. But the leadership in this area, and some of our entrepreneurs in this area, who are talking to our developers in this area, who are now going to be looking at building out what will become the new town of Spot Valley with this kind of housing development that we have here. So we welcome you, Prime Minister, and we say to Jamaica, in your hands, Prime Minister, we are safe. I want to very specially welcome the chairman of the NHT, Mr. Freeman, and my friend Martin, the president. And it is a habit, Linval, because the 3 times that you have been in St. James, the 3 times you have been into East Central St. James. So if you think the Prime Minister is not serious about the promise, see there, every time the NHT has been in St. James in the last 6 months, it has been in East Central St. James. He delivered keys at Union Square. He broke ground for 1,500 units at Barrett Hall, and now he's breaking ground for 400 and odd units again, and I'm bringing him back because we have more to be done in East Central St. James. My brother, neighbor, colleague, friend, and mentee, the Deputy Speaker of the House, Heroy Clark, our own Member of Parliament for Central St. James, who is here, gracing us with his presence. But always, we can rely on Heroy to be here with East Central. And we want to welcome you very specially today, Heroy. I want to very specially welcome again, because we've done that before, and we've done that at Edmund Ridge. And what a wonderful presentation that we will give to our Prime Minister later on when we tour up there. The Heenan 5 team, I want to give a special welcome and thank you to you for the work you have done in this constituency. And of course, I want to welcome all our friends who have joined us today in this very historic ceremony, and of course, our partners in the communities around who have come to make today a really meaningful and exciting experience, because we believe in development. And the government of Andrew Michael Holness has been the epitome of that belief. We not only talk about development, guess what? We deliver. And so my presentation to you is going to be very short, because we are in a delivery mode. And I know the Prime Minister has much more to tell you about this delivery mode that we are in. Guess why? Because we choose Jamaica. And we're delivering tourism. You know that. And you know, we went through a little soft spot a few months ago, and people were saying with all what's happening now, with the disruption, you know, tourism is... Well, I want to tell them, April, this month, strong, powerful. We are nearly 10% growth for the month of April already. Tourism is back. And we are back because we are resilient. And we are resilient because we have done the work. And we have good leadership under the able guidance of the Most Honorable Andrew Michael Holness, in whose hands we are safe. And I just want to say that we can look to the future with great anticipation. And the reason we say that, yes, we are going there, 1 time, 2 times, it's all because we have a safe pair of hands. And I want to thank Prime Minister Holness for giving us that pair of hands. And we in East Central are going to make sure the development continues. I'm taking him to some other places, you know. You see 2 big hotels that we're building across the road? I'm taking him there too. I'm taking him when we do the park, the Barrytown Park, that we are going to be building, not to rival Harmony Park, but almost. I'm taking him there too. And we are going to make the Prime Minister so proud of the fact that he has done his job, done it well, and he's done it so well that we say to him, the work that you have done is good, but there's better work to be done. And therefore, we're going to call on you again to move forward, to continue the work. God bless you. Thank you very much. And have a wonderful day today. And we are going to build out this Spot Valley area, revolutionize it, transform it, and make it into the township. And Prime Minister, you know me for phrases. And so we find a name already for it, you know. We are going to be calling this the Spot Valley Oasis. When we are finished with all of this, and we're going to put a little drone, Prime Minister, to take a picture of how this area look. A pity I didn't have one show before I became your MP. Show as a result of being your MP, that you will see how this place has been transformed and become the new town to be the Spot Valley Oasis. God bless you and thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister Bartlett. We do understand your excitement. Indeed, housing represents exciting things that are happening in the lives of Jamaicans. Thanks again, sir. Our musical performance this afternoon comes from the Spot Valley High School. Established in 2005, they are a young school, but in their 20 years have made a name for themselves in sports and in the arts, with many JCDC gold medal performances to their credit. Today we will be serenaded with a song by a 10th grade student of the school, Michaela Bird. Please make her welcome at this time.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'll be singing Three Little Birds by Bob Marley, and I hope you can join in with me while I sing the song. About a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Singing, don't worry, yeah, about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Rise up this morning, smile with the rising sun. Three little birds, yeah, pitch by my doorsteps, singing sweet songs, oh, melodies pure and true. Say, this is my message to you. Don't worry, yeah, about a thing. Every little thing is gonna be alright. Yeah. Don't worry, yeah, about a thing. 'Cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Rise up this morning, smile with the rising sun. Three little birds, pitch by my doorstep, singing sweet song. Melodies pure and true, singing, this is my message to you. Don't worry about anything, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Hey, yeah, don't worry, yeah, about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Brookside, hey! Don't worry, yeah, about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Everybody, everybody, don't worry, yeah, about a thing, 'cause everybody, yeah, about a thing, 'cause yeah.
Don't need to ask if that's right. But let's do it to 10. Vocal performance. Michaela is gonna be alright. So really the thing is gonna be alright. Use visionarily mental in bringing this project to life. And also we celebrate today as it relates to all these new housing projects that your minister boasting and that your chairman talking about that are being undertaken by the NHT. Ladies and gentlemen, our keynote speaker this afternoon, Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness.
Michaela, that's your name? I don't worry about a thing, because I know that every little thing is gonna be alright. So how you rate me now? Clearly, I can't compete with Michaela. Michaela, you've done, where's Michaela? You've done so well. And I was so pleased to see your mom coming to give you that big hug. Sometimes we forget that we don't only represent ourselves, and the success of the child is the parent. That progress, when the child is able to fulfill, do better than what the parents could have done. And the parents look on with such great pride. So I was so happy to see the mom running out to give Michaela that big hug. Allow me to thank up this ring in prayers. Let me acknowledge your member of parliament, but you all know him as the world-class Minister of Tourism, the Honorable Edmund Bartlett. We have with us today Deputy Speaker of the House and a member of Parliament in the and I believe a neighboring constituency, Deputy Speaker Heroy Clark. I want to acknowledge the chairman of the NHT, Mr. Linval Freeman. Yes. And the managing director of NHT, Mr. Martin Miller, and the executive team of the NHT. As I reflected on groundbreaking and handing over ceremonies that we have conducted over the last 9 years, I can't recall as they have been within this last 9 years of groundbreaking. It's incredible. It's a task for the NHT, and that task is for them to do 43,000 houses of the 70,000 houses that we have committed to build in Jamaica. NHT is well on its way to doing this. We had a little setback because of the COVID pandemic. It has really impacted the pace which the NHT would have delivered housing, the 43,000 that they are tasked to do. But I'm pleased to report that and now they are on track and they are doing fairly well in increasing the pace. But allow me to also acknowledge Mr. Han Wei Fang, Vice President of the Henan Fifth Construction Group, and his team. Thank you for your comment, sir, and thank you for the commitment that you have made to Jamaica. Clearly, our partnership is a commercial partnership. But more than we have developed, certainly in terms of the commitment to the time and the commitment for the transfer, and I am sure that the people benefit from the partnership with Henan Fifth. As we break ground for what will become another estate housing development. This monument marks more, or rather this moment, marks more than the start of construction. It signifies our continued commitment to making the dream of home ownership a reality for thousands of Jamaicans. Brookside Estate represents the government's firm belief that every Jamaican family, regardless of income, regardless of social status, deserves access to safe, affordable, and modern housing. That belief is not abstract. It is reflected in action, in investment, and in the partnerships that we forge. Today's project, delivered under the National Housing Trust Guaranteed Purchase Program, is yet another tangible proof of that vision. Under this project, we will be constructing 418 housing units, 240 one-bedroom homes, 178 two-bedroom homes, on over 51 acres of land nestled strategically between Montego Bay and Falmouth. The location alone speaks to the potential of this community, within reach of major employment centers, but yet designed to provide a tranquil residential environment. This initiative is being led by the Henan Fifth Construction Group, Jamaica Company Limited, who have proven themselves as capable and dependable construction partners. Under the Guaranteed Purchase Program, developers take on the responsibility of design, implementation, and delivery of the homes, while the NHD assumes the market risk. That means that the NHD gives a guarantee to purchase all the homes, or a certain percentage of all the homes that Henan Fifth will construct under this project. This reflects a modern and efficient approach to housing development. This new community, Brookside, these units will be designed with dignity and functionality. I want you to appreciate those two words. You know, we have seen houses built that can only be described as a matchbox. We have seen houses built that can only be described as ovens. We have seen houses built that you can only go in and turn around and come back out. Somebody say you can only go in and reverse. And we have said to the NHD that housing is more than just having a roof over your head. You know, housing is about the dignity of people, the pride of people, the convenience of the people, the comfort of the people. And at the end of the day, it must be an asset for the people. So we have to step up the game in the houses that we build. We have to integrate new technology to make sure that we are keeping up with modern times, but using the technology to mitigate some of the conditions that exist in the environment. So, you know, we are making sure that the houses that we build, that yes, they are solid structure, so we are using concrete. We have to make sure that the bathroom facilities are up to date. And I gather from what I've seen here that they are ensuring that proper fixtures and tiling and all the modern amenities are in place in the unit, that you have a little bit of ceiling height clearance to make sure that you're not trapping the hot air in the homes that will end up broiling you. We're also making sure that your outer environs are properly done, that you have a little space for landscaping and gardens, that you have proper roadway and proper walkway and a proper space for your recreational amenities. So we have taken the time to make sure that this community will not only be one where you just come home and sleep, but this is somewhere that you can actually live and enjoy your life. As we lay the foundation for the Brookside estate, we're also laying the groundwork for economic growth in St. James. This development will serve as a catalyst for job creation and local business stimulation. During the construction phase, we anticipate the creation of numerous employment opportunities for skilled and unskilled workers in the region. From masons and carpenters to electricians and plumbers, this project will engage a diverse workforce, providing them with steady income and valuable experience. Moreover, the influx of residents to Brookside Estate will spur demand for goods and services benefiting local entrepreneurs and small businesses. From grocery stores and pharmacies to schools and transportation services, the community's growth will have a ripple effect, invigorating the local economy. Indeed, your Member of Parliament is very eager to create an urban space in this suburban area. And he has given it a name already. It's the Oasis, the Brookside Oasis, Spot Valley, the Spot Valley Oasis. And I would pause here to say that this is very much in keeping with the spatial development strategy of the government of Jamaica. You know, the NHD, since its inception, would have delivered about 7,400 housing solutions in St. James. The NHD will be 50 years, I believe, next year or so, next year. 7,400 housing solutions. We will deliver another 2,250. That's what we have planned in the next 5 years. We delivered the first 7,400 with housing schemes such as the Estuary, Cornwall Court, and Providence Heights. And we will deliver the additional 2,250 with projects like this one here at Brookside itself, Barrett Hall, Comfort, and Canterbury. And we have other projects that have not yet made it to the stage where we can announce them, but we are contemplating them. And these are only the houses that the NHD itself is developing or financing. Now, in all of this, in addition to what the NHD is doing, people are building their own houses privately. People are subdividing land and selling it, and people are building. So there is a private market for housing. In addition to that, There are persons who are irregularly settling land, and I'm being euphemistic. Let me say what you all understand that to mean. There are persons who are capturing land, squatting on land, and building their own houses. So regardless of what the government does, there will always be a set of persons driven by the need for shelter who will try to find their own way to survive. What the NHT has to do, the HAJ, the new social housing program, the Ministry of Housing, and all the other entities that have an impact on spatial development, the parish councils, is that we have to increase the pace at which we provide housing solutions that are affordable to the people. Whenever the pace of affordable housing solution delivery is slow, people are not going to sit by and just wait on the government. They are going to find their own means. And so what we have been trying to do at the NHT and generally in the government is to increase the pace at which government supports the housing sector. Shelter is a human right. Every human being is entitled to shelter. And the state, the government, must provide not shelter, but the government must provide the support mechanisms that make shelter accessible and affordable. So let's look at my earlier statement again. In this parish, so far the NHT has provided about 7,400 housing solutions. About how many persons live in St. James? Anybody knows what the census is for St. James? You can just go on Google or what they call it, Grok or OpenAI, and anybody can tell me what the population is here. I would suspect it's a little bit over 200,000 people or more. Anybody can tell me? Quickly. 183,000. I would say about 200,000 because that statistic would be a little bit dated from 2011. Exactly. So it's about 200,000. So the NHT would have provided 7,400 housing solutions. You multiply that by 4, let's say, on average. So you're looking at about 28,000 persons being housed. The rest of that number would have had to find housing solutions privately, right? Houses on what we call the open market, private construction. The NHT, however, also helps those persons who are going to purchase on the private market, on the open market, because the NHT provides mortgages at sub-market rates, meaning they provide you financing for houses at interest rates that are below market rate. Subsidized interest loans, mortgages. And some of those loans, under my administration, we have made them 0%. So depending on the income that you earn, if you are considered to be in the low income category, you pay as low as 0%. And in some other categories, you pay 2%. So you see how the NHT is helping you to be able to achieve this human right of shelter. Now, there is a category of persons who live or don't live at all in any shelter. But those shelter conditions are substandard. All of us here would agree that nobody should live in those conditions. And so the government, for those persons, have a duty. And that duty is essentially described as the provision of social housing, meaning the provision of housing for persons who are not able to pay for it. But let me change housing to shelter. The provision of shelter for persons who are not able to pay for it. And how does the government do this? The government does this, yes, through the NHT. The NHT has a grant program, and we need to speak a little bit more about this, where persons are assessed, and depending on their condition, they get a grant towards providing their shelter. We assist through the parish councils. The parish councils provide infirmaries for persons who are, some of them are not necessarily ill, but nobody is there to take care of them. We provide it by supporting some state-run golden age homes. We provide it by developing and running drop-in centers for homeless persons and street persons. And we have now, under my administration, developed a new program called the New Social Housing Program, where we provide housing for Jamaicans who are unemployed, elderly, pregnant and lactating, large families, families in distress, families at risk of environmental conditions, where we build these houses for persons and hand it over to them in an attempt to create intergenerational wealth in the family to break the cycle of poverty. So you see the programs that the government has that is helping you, all of you here can participate in some way or the other in acquiring shelter solutions. So we are dealing with people who have income and can afford, and people who don't have income and can't afford. Now, I'm not here telling you that the government's overall shelter policy works very well. It is a constant struggle to improve it. But I am here to tell you that we are much better off today in the provision of housing than we were 10 years ago. How can this provision of shelter be improved? All right. As I like to say, we are in the promising season. And there are some politicians who are going to come to you knowing your frustration, knowing your disgruntlement, knowing your anger, and try to feed upon that frustration, feed upon that anger, and make promises that may sound good to you now, but cannot be fulfilled. They're going to make promises to you that may address your concern now, and you may even vote or change your vote as a result of it. But when it comes time to fulfill it, it can't be fulfilled. And then you become part of the disbelieving, frustrated voter who believes that politics can't change anything. In other words, this cycle of political apathy, this is what created it. In my lifetime as a political representative, I have tried my best, and I think I've done very well, to avoid making promises that cannot be kept. And if these promises, if I've made and I can't keep them, rest assured that I have come to you and said, well, this can't be done again. Because there are things you come with ambition and aspirations, and it may not work. But I've never come to the people with an intention to trick them. In fact, what I have been accused of, Ed, is that I've been too frank. That I've told the people what the unvarnished truth was, and some persons didn't like it. And that has always been my style, to tell you what the unvarnished situation is. So, yes, there are gaps in our housing strategy. There are challenges, and there are areas which we have been able to address as we would have liked. But constantly we are working on them. And one area that keeps coming up all the time is housing for young people. And when I get an opportunity to talk to young professionals in particular, who are now working, they have a steady stream of income, they are faced with heavy rent, and they are saying, why am I paying this rent when I could pay a mortgage? And indeed, I'm very sympathetic to their concern. But I'm also confronted, as I told the story before, of another demographic of older persons, so they would be outside of the youth category, 18 to 39. And these persons have been working all their lives, and they still can't find a house. And then I've been confronted by persons who are at the end or almost at the end of their working life. And they are very frustrated, very frustrated. They can't find a house. And we have put in place several programs to address this. For those who are almost at the end of their working life, and they have family who are beginning their working life, we introduced a program called the Intergenerational Mortgage. And if you are hearing my voice and you fall in this category of persons who are heading to the end of their working life, but they have family coming in to the workforce, please consider approach the NHT regarding acquiring an intergenerational mortgage. So that means that you and your children can come together to secure a mortgage for a home. Now, if you look at the two other categories, young people just entering the workforce, wanting to acquire a home, what is the challenge for them? The challenge for them would be qualifying for the NHT mortgage. And that qualification would mean that they would have to have income that could support a mortgage. It would mean that they would have to be able to pay a deposit. But what is the real obstacle to that element of the market? The real obstacle, the real binding constraint, it's not the ability to pay the mortgage, because, and I'll come back to this later, because once you have income and you are so early in your working career, you can extend the mortgage even further and reduce your monthly payments. You have options there. And if it is the down payment that is the problem, if it's the NHT house you're going to get already, you can pay 0% down on some of the NHT houses. The real binding constraint, which the politicians that are promising you flying horses, like giving you putting $1 billion to pay down to pay down deposits. You know how many people that would be? Out of that cohort between 18 to 39 who would be considered youth, young. You're looking at over 40,000 people. And you are going to take $1 billion to give 2,000 people. How are you going to choose them? And why would you give that category and not give to other categories of people as well? A horse that you promise can fly, but I guarantee you, that horse can't fly. The real solution to this problem is to increase the number of houses that are specifically built for young families and young professionals. That is the real challenge. There is simply a demand and supply problem. It is a supply problem, actually. There is not enough houses. So the effort of government policy to solve this problem shouldn't be on the demand side, meaning giving a subsidy to some people. The effort of the government should be on the supply side, increasing the number of houses. And this is a challenge that this society has, because the society does not properly interrogate the promises that politicians make. And we don't take the time to properly analyze what the solutions are and what the challenges are. So I find myself coming onto platforms like these, delivering lectures. Not that the press will ever carry it, because to get it into news bites may be difficult. But I still have to do it. Otherwise, the society will be carried off into all kinds of adventures, as we were carried off into adventures in the 70s and the 2000s. And you can see where it ended up. So the strategy of the government has been very clear, very well thought out, and very effective. One line of effort in this regard in dealing with the supply side issue is that we need contractors who can build and build fast. And we have been working with our local contractors, and we have struck up good relations with the Henan Fifth Group, with China Harbor, as our foreign partners who have come to support housing construction in Jamaica. The truth is, we need enterprise-level contractors who can take on massive projects and deliver them on time without problem. And that we have to constantly be working on that. Now, just by the natural progress, as the NHT increases the number of projects that it has, we will be developing the local skills. Already, we have some excellent local contractors. I hate to call names, because if I leave out anybody, we're going to get in problems. But, you know, we have had established Wicon. You know, we have, that is West Indies Home Contractors. They did a project here, Rhine Park in St. James, you know. I don't want to go into two, because if I leave out anybody. But we have good local contractors as well. And so what we're trying to do is to encourage them to come into the market and put their talents into the construction of these kinds of housing solutions that are affordable to our young professionals and young people who are coming into the market. And that is why we have, instead of putting the money to give 2,000 persons a deposit while the other 40,000 look on, we have decided to support, for example, this program, which is called the Guaranteed Purchase Program. So if we take the risk from developers, that is the risk of constructing the houses and nobody purchases them, then it will become more attractive to them to come into this segment of the market. And so that's what has happened. That is why we have Henan Fifth Year, and we have other projects like this with China Harbor. We have a developers program where the NHD will provide the land and somebody else will come in and develop. We have a joint venture and we support the contractors. We give support for the development of infrastructure and these kinds of things. We recently announced the small development program where we're going to target the rehabilitation of certain areas where roads exist, infrastructure exists, but these areas have suffered from urban blight. We will provide the financing and the support to mission developers to go into those areas and help with the reconstruction and development of those areas. It is these kinds of demand-side assistance, development assistance, that will expand the supply of housing. And that's what we are doing today. And it is because we have taken this kind of strategic approach why almost every fortnight now, for the last 3 months, the NHT has been fighting with my office to get space in my diary to have these handing overs, groundbreaking ceremonies right across Jamaica. Already, on this demand side of things, we have taken great steps. This year, we increased the individual loan limit from $7.5 million to $9 million. So if you want to buy a house on the open market, you can get an NHD loan which was 7.5 before, now to 9 million. We have moved the co-applicant loan from 15 million to 17 million. And if you are 3 persons co-applying for the loan, we have moved that from 21 million to 23 million. So what that does is to increase the amount of money that you have. So it really doesn't make sense to talk about, giving an additional 2,000 persons an additional $500,000. That's not going to be fair. If you're going to do it, you have to do it right across the board. Right across the board. Because what you would have done is given preference to one group over another group. In other words, you would have redistributed equity in the society. You would have made some persons better off and made other persons relatively worse off. So that's never good policy. And what we have done is that if the house that you are planning to purchase costs $14 million, it's in that range, then you can get an individual loan of $12 million. So what that means is for those persons who, want to increase the loan limit, the developers increase the price. And we have seen that correlation happen too often. So what we have done is to create an incentive for developers not to increase their price because you would be moving out of the affordable price range. We have also made some other changes for persons earning under $30,000 weekly. The deposit for open market loans will be reduced from 5% to 2%, and the service charge will be removed altogether. And we are also advancing sustainable solutions. We are giving what is called the Smart Energy Grant, which offers up to $1.5 million for pensioners to install solar panels. And already 280 households have benefited from this grant. So, my friends, the government's housing policy, it's very thoughtful. It is very strategic. And it is working. We will be able to be breaking ground from now to after September. Every other week, we will have our groundbreaking. From now till after September and beyond. Why is it that we have been able to do this? Because we have done the work. And what you are seeing now is the fruition, meaning the work starting to bear fruit. So to my fellow Jamaicans who are concerned, reasonably upset, that for decades you have not been able to get your house, the strategy of the government is working. We are increasing the pace at which we deliver housing to Jamaicans. So once we increase the pace, meaning once we address the demand, the supply side of the issue, and we support the demand side as well, you're going to see the formal market for the creation, development, and construction of housing overtake, replace, and eliminate the informal housing sector. In other words, the way to deal with informal communities springing up, squatting, and irregular settlement is for the government to increase the pace at which it delivers formal housing, so that people will feel that I genuinely have a choice to go and participate in the formal housing market rather than to see a piece of land, watch it and say, nobody now come there for how long, and then go and stake your claim on it. Ultimately, people want dignity and respect. And what the government is going to do is make it possible for you to acquire your home with dignity and respect. God bless you and thank you.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister Holness. Thanks for that presentation, covering quite a few areas as it relates to housing, but all anchored in the belief, of course, that housing is more than a roof over your head. It's an asset for our people. That's my takeaway this afternoon. And that there are many ways that the NHT can assist with your home ownership goals. You have NHT schemes. You have low interest rate loans at 0% at its lowest. Home grants of up to $3.5 million that if you qualify for that, you can add it to your loan amount. Intergenerational mortgages, a host of products, services, and policies to assist you, all showing that home ownership is indeed possible, and there are many ways for you to get home. There are quite a few people here today from my St. James branch office, or if you see any other people in the white NHT shirts, if you have any other questions about, the availability of how you can start contributing, how we will look at qualification for this development when it's ready, now is the moment, now is the opportunity to ask any of us from NHT and put yourself on the pathway so that when the time comes, when this development is complete,